Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. We are continuing our read through Brandon Sanderson's The Way of Kings. We are up to Interlude 8 in between parts 3 and 4 of the book, and this interlude is entitled Geranid. Geranid is a female Adent who was positioned in the Rshi Isles. You can see, I don't know that this is the right map. Let me see if it's on the back. No, that's something else. Yeah, Rshi, you can see Rshi, the Rshi Islands. They're up in one of these islands up here. And what are they doing? Well, they're there from the Ardentia to help those who follow Vorinism, answer their questions, give them teaching. They're primarily there because both of them are scientists. And both of them, Geranid is the woman. She is the very much the scientific element of things. She enjoys studying spren. And her fellow Adent, who over the years that they have lived there, has become more than just a companion, someone that she genuinely loves. His name is Ashir. Ashir is a larger Adent who loves chemistry. But he demonstrates his chemistry love by cooking. He's not very good at cooking, and he's okay with that. He's more fascinated in the different combination of ingredients. And Geranid is the one who eats all of his stuff. So we learn that Ashir has a very big sweet tooth, which in Vorinism is more women's food than men's food, which would be very tough, very savory food. And so they're there having a conversation. Ashir talks about, I think I'm going to change my calling. I don't have the passion for cooking like I used to. And as they're kind of talking, Geranid is okay with him talking. He has a very kind voice. It doesn't annoy her because she does think deeply. She's thankful that he is with her and not someone else who is more annoying. However, as they're talking, they kind of talk about how, I think I've lost my passion, Ashir says, because we're not going to be eating food in the spiritual realm, which is interesting. I don't know that that's been mentioned before. This spiritual realm. He says, we have to eat here in the physical realm, but in the spirit that exists in the spiritual realm, there's a sort of state of ideals, and I don't know that the spiritual realm requires the material, physical things as we experience and need now. Geranid responds, well, maybe there is a state of ideals, so you could create ideal foods, perhaps. He said, well, that's interesting. I hadn't really considered that. And so we got this spiritual realm, and then the physical realm, which they're currently in. And then a little further down, we actually get a third realm that they begin talking about. He said, sounding wistful, that was something. They're talking about a meal that he made the previous week or the previous night, this like green soup. He said that was something, wasn't it? Completely revolting. I wonder if they eat in the cognitive realm. Is a food there what it sees itself as being? I'll have to read and see if anyone has ever eaten while visiting Shadesmar. Okay, we have seen Shadesmar before. That's been the name of a chapter. That is that beady, dark world that Shallan found herself in. And here, these Adents seem to know that it exists. He calls it the cognitive realm. I'll see if food there is what it sees itself as being. I'll have to read and see if anyone else has eaten while visiting Shadesmar. So this seems to be a place that people can visit. It seems to be a place where things envision themselves a certain way and appear that way. He calls it the cognitive realm. This is pretty important for the lure of what we're doing, where we're at in the story. You've got someone like Shallan who has absolutely stumbled upon this, but it seems that at least some of the Adents in Vorinism, in the Ardentia, they know that this place exists. So that's interesting. They go and have more conversations, And Ashir helps Geranid because she notices that she is observing some flame spren popping in and around a fireplace. And when she measures them, she has a tool to measure them and writes the measurement down. The flame spren freezes. It stops moving, which she thinks is very confusing. And so she brings Ashir over and he says, well, go into the other room. I'm going to give you 3 numbers. One is going to be the length of one of the flame spren that I measure, but I'm not going to tell you which, and don't tell me which one you write down. And so he gives her a first number, she decides not to write that down. He gives her a second number, she decides not to write that down. He gives her a third number, and when he's even about halfway through saying, okay, that's the flame spren freezes. He says, I think that's the one that you wrote down. And she goes, yes. So you don't even have to be in the same room. You just have to have the exact number. They talk a little bit more about, I wonder if it's generalizations, if it's intent, if it actually has to be measured. And they kind of determine that, yes, it has to be measured for this flame spren to stop moving, to almost be kind of bound, it feels. They don't really know what this is, but Ashir encourages her, I think you've made a super big important discovery for the sakes of studying spren in the future. She says, well, there's so much that I need to think more. I need to do more research. I need to try this for luminosity, then compare it to my general equation of flame spren luminosity. And compare that, fire, they're drawn to and danced around and test the fire. He says, that sounds, my dear, like a lot of math. Indeed. He smiled, kissed her on the forehead, and said, then I shall make you a snack to occupy you while you create new marvels of calculation and genius. And that's where this interlude ends. We have these 2 Adents talking, doing scientific experiments in their own right. They've developed this genuine love for one another. They've been there for years, we find, so they are getting older as they go on, and they're certainly loving the element of companionship. And so what have we found in this little interlude? Well, we found some interesting things about flame spren, and we found that there are 3 specific realms. The spiritual realm that they believe is where you go when you die, this physical realm, which they are in right now, and then this cognitive realm, which is Shadesmar. So what actually is that? What has Shallan discovered? What do they know? Well, I'm sure we'll find moving forward in our book. But I hope you've enjoyed reading this short little chapter, this short story, we can almost call it. I hope you've enjoyed it. We'll continue on with the next interlude and then certainly the remaining chapters. But if you're interested, you can like and subscribe to the channel. You can help it to reach some more people. That would be fantastic. I think this really would be a benefit to those who are reading The Way of Kings for the first time, just to have some type of forum where you can talk, ask your questions. I'm trying not to give spoilers away, but I'm trying to give you just enough so you're not completely lost. It's a big story. There's a lot of moving parts, and we're really just scratching the surface.